Welcome everybody to another showcase match. My name is Jason and today we're going to be playing some Infinity Wars Classic as always, this time with another community member, Jgsnowbaorder. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Howdy, I'm Jgsnowbaorder. I play Infinity Wars on a pretty casual level. I think I'm good, but I'm really not, and this deck is definitely a showcase of that. This deck is built around the concept of Nero, Sleepers of Avarak, and Exiles, using some of the fun tools from Single Purity Cult of Aurora. Looking at some interesting things in the game, I'm excited to see if I can utilize Nero's experiments, Bile Imp, and Memories and Blood to as much effect as I can manage. This deck is not built with a coherent plan. If you're looking at my curve and you're horrified, thumbs up. You understand what I'm doing.
The specific deck we're working with today is a bit of an interesting one, in the way that it has several things that it wants to do, but I'm not 100% sure what way it's going to go, so we're just throwing stuff at the wall here to see what sticks. The main plan that I want to try and do is get Cultural Exchange out and get a lot of these Great Wall of Jinhai down, and just stop my opponent from being able to do any damage to me. We've also got other things like Recall in here, and everything that we want to do here is just to try and minimize the amount of damage that they can possibly do until it gets to the point where they just can't hurt us. But we'll see how that goes. I'm not 100% sure how this is going to transpire. Let's send JG an invite. Alrighty, let's go. Good luck.
And here we go. I'm excited to see what our turn 1 might look like and what Jason's playing. Okay, interesting. We've got Caretaker, Spiritfire Disciple, and Daude's Honor Guard.
Ooh, we've got a Nero deck. Infested Abomination. Alright, so this is just going to slowly burn me to death. This is unfortunate, because he doesn't really need to attack me anymore to win this. This is going to be interesting. Let's see how we go.
We're in our opening hand. We don't have a turn 1 play, but that's okay. We're playing Nero, so Vanash, Nero compensates for a bad turn 1 to about 2, maybe 3 if you're playing a little risky. Rearrange our hand a little bit. Spiritfire Disciple. This card's a lot of fun to play with. I'm mildly worried about it, but not too scared. I can make trump blockers for days, and if it dies, I'm going to steal it with Nero's experiments. But let's play our turn 1 and get this Risen of Avarak going down. Let's see what Jason does.
We have a very basic turn 1. We want to just throw a buff down onto either Daude's Honor Guard or Spiritfire Disciple. I want to try off Spiritfire Disciple. He's coming out into the defense zone in turn 3, and then we're going to move him into the assault zone and see how he does.
Alrighty, Caretaker buff, pretty standard turn 1 play.
Okay, Vanash is going to be throwing away Risen of Avaraks and anything to give any additional buffs. He might have some things that have Recall or Exile in there as well. Very scary.
Alrighty, turn 2. So we have a couple of options here, which is either we can swing for 6 or we can Nero, get 2 damage off from Infested Abomination, get another Risen rotating. I think we're going to go with the Nero play. Jason's deck looks a little slow, and he's kind of a predictable player, so I'm going to try and go with the Death Ray and steal that Spiritfire Disciple early. Settle up with the Nero. We're going to be saving Vanash for any significant, potential recall exploits we might have. We might do Quarantine Break next turn. It's all kind of depending on, how things shake out, whether or not we have a better target for Infest around turn 4.
I think the best turn 2 play here is just going to be Brings Life by Passing, get that out, start ramping up our resources a little bit. I think that should make us just a little bit safer.
Alright, Brings Life by Passing. That's pretty annoying. I would love to steal that if I can, but I don't have a whole lot of support zone targeting.
Alright, Infested Abomination dies. And from now on, we are on a timer. Unless there's something we can do to get rid of him in the graveyard, which this deck does have access to. It's just not great. We're going to throw him out here. But because this was a commander, I don't actually have to do the usual thing where it goes into the zone here with Vigilance, we can move him into the assault zone directly. So not only is he going to be a 10-17 attacking guy on the third turn, but we've also got our Brings Life by Passing for the next turn. He can very easily just throw a Death Ray or something down on this, but I don't think he's going to do that immediately. Let's see what he does.
Interesting choices to be made here. Does he play the Spiritfire Disciple and do something else with it, or does he play... I don't want to say smart. Jason plays smart sometimes. It's in commitment to the bit. Let's go with a Death Ray and see if we can catch him with a lucky prediction. Might get lucky, might lose out. We'll see. I think it's worth it.
Oh, he does Death Ray it. Never mind. He is just as smart as I thought he would be. I do love that alt art Death Ray too. It's very fun. Very funny.
Oh, the read. We've read this man so badly. Alrighty, so we're going to look to get that with Nero's Experiments now that we've got our Risens of Avarax cycling up from the graveyard. We're going to go ahead and take Spiritfire Disciple here, and then we're going to discard again with Vanash just to get this Infested Abomination out of my hand. Next turn we might look at dropping something like Bile Imp, or potentially an Infest target with a Vanash discard, Adaptive Ritualist for, maybe pulling back this Death Ray and then sacrificing it with Nero. We have a lot of command zone playing options, and with his Purity combinations, we don't have to worry about too much targeting us and making us vulnerable and stopping our game plan.
Okay, he got me good there. That's exactly what he wanted, but we're okay. We still have our Brings Life by Passings. And now we have Recall, who's going to make things a little bit easier for us as well. Let's go ahead and deploy him. And I think that's going to be all we do this turn.
Nero's Experiments bringing back the good stuff here. Vanash, of course, giving us some board-wide buffs, giving us a little more staying power.
Alright. That is interesting. Alright, we suddenly need to be much more aware of exactly what we're dealing with here.
Now, it's odd, but Spiritfire Disciple here isn't really a person. They're more of a play until they're no longer handy. So we're going to just go ahead and feed them to Nero, because we can. And we're going to go ahead and play... We have a few interesting choices here. Bile Imp would give other things in effect, but our only other good target is our Bile Imp already. So not great targets to discard here. We could sacrifice Spiritfire Disciple and pull back that Death Ray like we were talking about earlier, but likely as not, it's going to be a worse play than just pressing forward and using Nero to cause problems. So how about we feed a Bile Imp to Adaptive Ritualist here, make sure we overcharge that and pull back that Death Ray. Those things are always handy, very useful single target removal, love single Purity Call for that. And here we go.
I'm not doing great for options at the moment, so I'm going to buff that preemptively. Recall's going to attack, just to try and minimize the attack that everybody else has. We get a Brings Life by Passing out, and I think we might want to also shuffle in our Calamity here.
Actually, I've reconsidered everything. Nope, hold on. We're going to flip our entire set, pull you back, we're going to infest you, and then use you on you, and end our turn with 4 seconds on the clock. Let's go. How about it?
With how much graveyard support and stuff they have at the moment, I don't think that Calamity is going to be the play, because even if we wipe the board, they're just going to have options in the graveyard. So I think that's... Oh, Damn, alright, never mind. We spent too much time thinking. It is what it is.
Oh, we have read this man. We are flipping from page 1 to 2 like a book. I'd feel bad for him, but this is just funny. Vanash buffs, always nice. Building board presence over time. The most concerning thing you could do is drop this honor guard and start heavily defending. We lose out badly on those kinds of trades.
Alright, we've got more brings life by passings. Alright. We're really not finding any of the location cards we need at the moment, unfortunately. And that is quite sad. So we'll play out Daode. We'll give him another buff. That'll make things slightly easier. And we'll also drop a recycle on Rakal. Hopefully the extra card draw will do something for us.
Play Bile Imp here for 2. Not really for any particular purpose, but just because we can, mostly. He's way ahead of us on curve, and with that single Purity and Warpath, he could be starting to drop some significantly scary units in a rather quick amount of time.
I also did just realize that this is a Plat Foil Risen of Avarak. That looks real nice. Ooh.
We're going to play Avarak Mastermind, copy out that Infested Abomination, and hopefully be able to get a few attacks off, so that way we can get a bunch more copies in our graveyard and start ticking for some more consistent damage. Likely as not, this Honor Guard's going to come down, or he's going to play something haste from hand. 8 resources is kind of a heavy break point. I think it might be better if we ponder our whole assault situation. We don't care about these bodies, but we do care about their potential defensive value against, a significantly large unstoppable. Things that could come to mind are Skarar's Young, or enough charge pouring out of that single Flame Dawn Purity to make a difference. I've seen Jason's deck building skills in person on stream. They're not crazy, but they can be unpredictable in the same way that, less optimized players play interesting lines that could confuse more veteran players. So I want to be wary of potentially leaving myself vulnerable to surprise attacks, but I think our board state's pretty good, and we can afford to just feed these into Honor Guard if it causes, any potential problems. There's the Honor Guard to defense with 22 HP. That thing is beefy. A recycle on the Rakar, so 1-for-1 cantrip there. Alright.
Alright, Avarak Mastermind is doing stuff. Alright. I think we are going to clean up most of this assault zone, thankfully. Oh, my mouse is in this one. Alright, we've done some good there. We could recycle our recycle.
If nothing else, we can now throw our Spiritfire Disciple into the assault zone and see how that all shakes out. We can play Risen of Avarak, feed it to Nero, and then we could shuffle Quarantine Break, or we could back up a second and think about it, maybe play it. I am interested in getting an attack off with Avarak Mastermind, but I don't want it to die. 13 HP if we use Vanash here. I think we want to discard Quarantine Break here. We won't get the Infect benefit from Bile Imp, but like I had said previously, if you're horrified at my curve, you understand what I'm doing. Actually, we'll sacrifice our current Bile Imp, discard, and then play another one next turn. Maybe do another Nero Feast on Spiritfire? I don't think we value the large body quite that much. Yeah, let's get some more Risens rotating, and we'll see how this goes. Looking at the potential plays that could come out, he is a full 2 resource ahead of me on curve. He's got some potentially quite large bodies that he could play out of single purity flamed on. Things like Morningstar Way Clearer come to mind for just 7 mana. Generally, any large amount of heavy body push is going to cause me a lot of problems. I don't have much AoE removal in this kind of deck. With my Rainbow Purities, I'm not hard committing to any particular strength.
I'm not in a great position to play Yuan-Shi's Wrath because it's going to destroy my Brings Life by Passings. Knowing that, I might as well double down and just get more Brings Life by Passings. Additionally, we don't have a whole lot of card selection right now. If we recycle our recycle, and then... Wait, hold on, we've done this incorrectly. If we do our trading post thing at the start, whatever we draw here might change the outcome. Seek the Prophet. Okay, that definitely does change things. We're going to play this. We only have one beast in our deck, being Rakal. So we're very okay with having that come out. Getting another Brings Life by Passing here, and recycling our recycle. This should hopefully get us some decent options. I am worried that they're just going to use a death spell on Daode's Honor Guard. I think we're just going to dodge that. I don't think he's going to expect this. I think this is, honestly, a decent play.
Alright. Seek the Prophet. Interesting. Oh, we infect one of his Brings Life by Passing. Oh no, Jason!
Alright, I didn't think about him having infect. We've just unintentionally given him a huge advantage here.
Thank you for the resource, my friend. I am happy to build up my Avarak pile. Let's get the Exile proc off on Bile Imp, feed Spiritfire Disciple to Nero. At the very least, we'll have Nero as a big scary body to do something with maybe somewhere down the line. Infect goes off, and we'll start stacking more of those infested abominations in the graveyard. The damage is ticking, and with that Yuan-Shi's Wrath getting discarded by Jason, he might be in for a particularly rough time. Now let's see, is there anything in our graveyard that we want badly? I don't think so, and I don't think there's any characters in here due to the infect that I would want to raise with Nero's experiments, and nothing that I really want constantly resurrecting itself, although Spiritfire Disciple should come back either next turn or the turn after that. Don't ask me about anything further, I'm bad at math. We're going to go ahead and drop Quarantine Break, and then play Glimpse the Nightmare, and we'll see how this shakes out. If we manage to cause problems for Jason via a little bit of Avarak Mastermind and then potentially getting Infect off with that Bile Imp, trading into Daode's Honor Guard, then I think we're in a pretty good spot. We're putting on enough pressure to where he can't build up to a crazy amount of resources like 11 or 12 without, severely sacrificing something in his own game plan.
And that's another Yuan-Shi's Wrath. Alright. Seeing the things as they are now, I think it might be a good idea to sacrifice these Brings Life by Passings. If they die to infect, that's fine. We're just going to Yuan-Shi's Wrath and clean them up. This might be an excellent opportunity to just go digging for the cards that we need and provide some buffs for the things that we need to buff up. So we'll throw out... Hold on, let's think about this. Let's draw a card. We got another Vessel of Harmony. Play that. Prepare for Conflict. And then we got to spend another buff on Daode.
Alright, feeding me the Brings Life by Passing. Alright. Prepare for Conflict, Vessel of Harmony. Interesting to play both of those now. I understand why. I think I get the bit he's going for. So I think he might be going for an uber buffed Daude's Honor Guard and trying to get that going with those balances. I haven't quite figured out what his gimmick is yet. But I've stolen 2 of his Brings Life by passing, so I think I'm in a pretty good spot, to be honest.
Alright. Vessel Harmonies. Give me the balances. Probably going to throw away Calamity. That is a lot of undead. That's perfect for us. We're very okay with this. Okay. That is a lot of extra cards that we're going to be cleaning up with Yuan-Shi's Wrath here. And we finally got our cultural exchange. Alright, fantastic. Okay, these Vessel Harmonies are going to die. That's acceptable. Daed's Honor Guard is going to go here, though. Cultural Exchange comes out. Yuan-Shi's Wrath. Another Yuan-Shi's Wrath. Well, actually, hold on. We're going to add a buff to Daod first, and then double Yuan-Shi's Wrath. This is just going to clean up almost everything they have. Avarak Mastermind is the only thing that they have left. And hopefully this will be enough to swing the board in our favor.
I'm putting out a lot of pressure onto the field, and I don't think that there's a whole lot he can do to stop me. I am going to reorder my assault zones, that way if I am feeding into that honor guard, I don't have to care quite so much about how I'm doing it. Nothing in our graveyard is really worth granting recall to, because most of our abilities already have recall. Nonetheless, to use Memories and Blood on Infest, that'll be handy to have as a tool later. We'll go ahead and do another quarantine break. We'll go ahead and look through here. Nero's Experiments would cost us 6 on the recall. Maybe 5. It's not quite clear. I'll have to raise that as a bug point later, but it's interesting nonetheless. We can play another Risen and feed it to Nero. It's not getting us any value right away, but we'll throw 2 bodies in our graveyard and maybe start up a little something later. With these 2 Vessels of Harmonies, it's 2 8/8s on the field, trade for 2 Risens, Risen and maybe Bile Imp, and then Avarak Mastermind straight into Daude's Honor Guard, which if that has a balance used on it, will kind of fold my entire assault zone. However, I'm going to get all these little bodies from Quarantine Break here in a moment, and that reminds me, let's reassign that Nero feeding to one of these little zombie token boys, and we'll see how this shakes out. I think I'm in quite an advantageous board state. He's discarded his Calamity, so one of his major tools for dealing with my constantly stacking board is gone. And until he recycles that, or uses Gather Thoughts, or gets it out of his graveyard in some way, I think I'm pretty safe to very heavily commit to the board. I don't have to worry so much about card advantage at the moment, although it is deeply limiting my potential options.
Alright, Cultural Exchange comes out. He is going to be playing another one of these Quarantine Breaks, which is fine. We're just going to clean up the first one, not a problem. We are also going to be taking out his Vanash, which is a fantastic little side bonus here. Yeah, a lot of these are getting cleaned up. I'm just going to speed past this. Doop, 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 doop. And one more.
That hurts. That's a smart play, though. That double Yuan-Shi's Wrath is going to shut down basically everything that I had going on, although my secondary Quarantine Break does manage to completely dodge that ability. He shuts down my Vanash, which kills a lot of my board presence. A very smart idea in general. I lose out on my Nero usage. Memories and Blood will still go through. I wasn't planning on using Vanash much more, but it does still hurt to lose a commander I've kind of invested so much resource in. Although, notably, he is significantly harming himself, and my Avarak Mastermind continues to stack those infested abominations. That quarantine break gives me the bodies I will need to sustain through this board, although with how quickly he's losing health, I kind of doubt that I'm going to have to be worried about it for too much longer.
Okay, I'm taking 10 damage at the end of every turn here. Unfortunately, I'm not getting any of the cards I need, and that's really affecting us, so I don't think there's a whole lot that we can do in this situation.
We'll go ahead and throw Spiritfire Disciple into defense, stack up these Risen of Avaraks here, put Avarak Mastermind in the back, and then we're going to go ahead and try and finish out this game. We're just going to push with everything, no cards in hand, all our options on the table. Unstable Demon to clear out any defenders. We've got Arisens of Avarak right behind that, Avarak Mastermind, and then perhaps the finishing strike with Nero. Although, to be honest, I only need to survive a couple more turns. With 6 infested abominations in the graveyard, I really don't have to worry about anything that he could do. He will be dead in 2 turns. So, with 88 HP and 55 morale, I'm pretty comfortable sitting back on my laurels here.
As a note, we do have this card in our deck. Oh, apparently we don't. Never mind. I was going to add a card to the deck that would have allowed us to target his graveyard and get rid of some cards there. That would be perfect at stopping this burn, but right now he's just unfortunately set up all of the infested abominations. There's not a whole lot I can do against that without the specific graveyard hate. Calamity wasn't going to help me, and I never even got the locations that he would have just breezed past anyway. This has been kind of a bad game, but, you know, you can't always have things go your way. This is pretty understandable. Oh, and he has the thing with Deadly at the front, so it doesn't matter how buff our defender is. He's just going to clean past that as well.
Pacify. A good play, but he did not read us as hard as we read him. He should have been expecting the Nero play. Looking at a single Exile's Purity, late game you have to think about those unstable demons coming out, because they will clear your defenses very quickly. And with Nero swinging in for 24, that's a lot of damage. Well played, Jason. I enjoyed that match.
Yeah, good game, well played. If you want to watch more of these, there will be a link to the playlist in the description. We'll see you in the next one. Have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is. I hope it's a good one. See you next time.